Hey guys, Matt here. I am in my hotel room about to leave Guilin in the cold, closing on freezing, raining weather that we are destined to have for the next couple of days. But before I do, I thought it would be interesting to talk to you a little bit about how I plan my rides. Planning my rides, that's kind of a fun way to put it because there's not a lot of planning, but you guys have asked me, and so I felt like I should do a bit of a explanatory. But you guys have asked me a few times about how I do it, and so I figured I'd put together a little explanatory video. It's gonna be very simplistic. I have my phone here. I'll do little screenshots of it, hopefully. You know, hold on, I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to record the screen of this thing. Hold on. Okay, so I just figured out how to record my screen. Pretty cool. So let's walk you through my map. Now this is MapOut. The things that are really great about MapOut is that I get to see a topographical layout of any point A to point B. So I'm going to isolate this hill here in Korea that I went over. I can zoom in on it. I can see the relative distance between point A and B. I can find out, okay, I'm going to hit the peak right about there, and then the base of that hill is going to be right about there. So I know I've got 4 kilometers of high rise there. I can also take 2 finger point areas and move my fingers around and get like an interesting layout topographically between 2 points A and B, no matter where they are. Sorry, the red bar at the top of my phone there, that is actually the screen recording app, so you can't see the exact top there, but you can get the gist. Like I said, a plan is sort of a funny thing for me to figure out because I try to keep a fairly open schedule for most of my rides. I don't like to think about what's in front of me or where I'm headed so much, because if I hit some place that I think is interesting, I want the freedom to stop there, and I don't want the pestering urgency of feeling like I have somewhere to go. I gotta get somewhere. I gotta move. So let me move out and let's think about what I have to do for the next couple of days. Go to my MapOut program, and I'm looking here, and you can see here that I've added a point, Mashan there. It has a star there. Originally, when I mapped out this path that you can see in red, I came down to Mong Thai. This is where I want to break into Vietnam from China. I knew I wanted to cross that point. That is an actual point that I felt like, okay, that's where I want to cross through. And then I knew that I wanted to go into Hanoi because there's a Lao embassy there. I wanted to check out my potential for getting a visa there. Plus, I wanted to go to Hanoi because it is a notable location. Then heading west, I break into, we're not breaking into Laos, but we do cross into Laos, and then head south, Muang She, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I basically did a winding path on roads that I thought were interesting and in basically valleys. I didn't want to run over too many tall peaks because Laos is very mountainous. But that heads south to Vang Vieng, which is a place that has something that I've heard a lot of my traveler friends talk about. It's a cool place to go rafting. And so I was going to go there, head south again to Vientiane. And then at that point I was going to follow the Mekong River east until I exited Laos back into Vietnam, headed south for a bit, and then hit probably the most time-sensitive point on my tour that's in the future, which is the Son Doong cave, the largest cave system in the world. I have an expedition reserved there in March 18th, I think. And actually my friend Matt, if you know Matt, Matt got typhoid and dengue fever when I was in climbing Everest, and he met me in Nepal. And he wants to take another go at us kind of hanging out and traveling together, and so he booked an expedition along with me for the Son Doong cave. So we're going to do that together. Okay, so that, I mean, obviously after that we're going into Cambodia, through Thailand, into Malaysia, down to Singapore, jumping to Jakarta, running from Jakarta across. I have another point, Gili Island, which is where I want to get my master diver certification at a dive school there, and then jumping to Australia. I got a big route there, and then jumping to New Zealand. The North and the South Island. But this is the only thing that I have plotted on my MapOut program. The one thing that I have found is that in China in particular, the maps are not very updated. So I'm sort of forced to choose roads on this MapOut program that are fairly notable. Now I can look here at the next day, and I take A, which is basically where I am, and I start working my way down the route that I've plotted on MapOut, and I can see that I typically like to go about 100 kilometers. So it's a very ambiguous thing. I look at my map and I say, at 100 kilometers, where is a city where I might feel comfortable stopping? And if I look at the map here in front of me on my MapOut program, I zoom in and I try and look for intersections of major roads. I can see here that there is absolutely nothing on the G322, which is going to provide me with some place to stay. Maybe here at the 94 kilometer mark, 95 kilometer mark, there's an intersection to the elevated highway. If I start going back farther, if I wanted to make tomorrow, say, an easy day, I'm pretty sure that I could find a place to stay in this Yongfu. So this is, like I said, the night before. I'm looking at my route. I'm trying to figure out where I might bed down tomorrow. It's very vague, but I'm thinking that Yongfu could probably provide me with a place. A lot of people ask me how I book my hotels. I use an app called Booking.com, or there's another Chinese one called Ctrip. And I could go into that and check and see if there's any hotels there. I can look and see that there is a place to stay there. Now, let's look at the farther goal. The eventual destination that I'm trying to reach is a city called Nanning. And Nanning is the big city just before crossing the border into Vietnam. The distance to the Vietnam border from Nanning is about 180, 185 kilometers. So I know that if I stop in Nanning, go back home to Ningbo, and celebrate Christmas with Eva and Annie, that Nanning will be as close as I can get to Vietnam comfortably to find a good hotel to store the trike, so that I can return to China for one last go and get out of here and head to Vietnam. So that's the ultimate destination. I don't need to be in Nanning for about a week to 10 days. So I have a lot of time. So now again, let's look again. Do I have enough distance currency to, say, make tomorrow a very easy day and only go to Yongfu? Looks like I do. There's also a city here called Guangfu that I could go to too, which might be a little bit more apropos, 65, 70 kilometers. Like I said, the distance to Nanning is, if you take a straight shot, 480 or 500 kilometers. So if you do about 100 average, maybe a little bit less, that's 5 days, that's 7 days, very conservatively 7 days to arrive there. Now, let me pull up a map program that I've been using in companionship with MapOut, and I'll show you something interesting that's been kind of affecting my travel days here in China. I'm going to close this and I'm going to open Baidu Maps. This is an all Chinese map program that will allow me to map out actual bike routes, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to zoom out until I can see Nanning. All right, there's Nanning. I'm just going to pick out a general location. Let's see, a bus stop there. I'm going to hit the bike route planning, and we're going to look. Now, the first thing that I see is it actually is more of a straight route than the one that I've come up with on on MapOut. So right here I can see I'm saving some distance, 430 kilometers as opposed to 490 almost. So I'm going to have to focus a little bit more on Baidu than I do on MapOut for the time in China. I've already found that. I look through these areas and I can see that there's a considerable amount of places that I can stop along the way. following this G322 road, and then it goes to G209, back to G322, and all the way to Nanning. So this is the simple route from Guilin to Nanning. I think it's going to take me about 5 days. Tomorrow I'll head out from Guilin south, working my way down the G322 road, and I just work my way down. Now I see on this Baidu Map program, it provides me an opportunity to go through a couple of more population centers, and the details of the cities are a little bit more accurate. Once you get close enough, you can actually see city layouts and actually kind of see if there's a hotel in these places. And let's see this little place. There's not a lot going on here, but I can see that there is a bathroom. But yeah, I use a mixture of Baidu and MapOut. No, the fact is that I try not to plan too much ahead of time and just kind of give myself some basic ideas of where I might be able to stop the next day. If I'm in a very populated area like Korea or Japan, I am actually even a little bit more relaxed because I know that I'd be able to find a place almost anywhere. Unless I'm, say, in Hokkaido, in the middle of the forested areas. But most of Japan and Honshu Island in particular, you can find a place to stay, no problem. So I'm going to use this map in Baidu to locate my destination there. Now, one kind of interesting thing is there's a guy that contacted me through the Jayoe Nation that said his family's in Mashan and that he has people he knows there, and he'd like me to go and visit his wife's family who lives in Mashan. And you can see here, it's quite a detour. My MapOut program puts me at about 120 kilometers out of my way from Nanning. So I'm thinking that I might do a detour that'll take me from Liuzhou to Mashan. And I'll probably figure that out tomorrow. And that's basically what I'm doing, is I'm taking tips from you guys and suggestions and kind of adapting my tour path that way. I'm not sure how helpful this was, but this is about all I do. I just kind of like map it out, look at it a little bit more, get some general ideas of the certain places that I'll be going. I mean, if you zoom out farther, you've got larger waypoints, and then you zoom out farther, you've got countries. And then, you know, you can also look at things like visa duration. You know, if I have a visa duration of 2 years like I do in China, I have a lot of time before I have to even worry or consider what am I going to do about exiting the country and getting my visa renewed. Vietnam, I have a 6-month visa. Laos, I got 30 days, but there's not a lot of distance to cover there. I should have no problem utilizing those 30 days to go in and out of Laos and so on and so forth. So China has been the most liberal with regards to how long I could stay here, just because I have a history here. I've had businesses here and things like that. But as I travel, things are going to get a little bit tighter with regards to the duration of my visas. That'll put a little bit of pressure on me as well, so you might see me traveling a little bit faster than I have been in the past. So yeah, so it looks like we've got 7 to 10 days until I get to Nanning. I can leverage that to possibly visit Mashan, and you're going to enjoy that. I think it should be fun if I decide to do that. The weather's getting cold. It's going to be 3 degrees in a couple of days, which is crazy. It's colder than Ningbo. So weather comes into my decisions as well. If it's raining, I try not to go as far as I might if it was beautiful weather. My ideal weather is like cloudy and warm, not maybe cloudy and just crisp. You know, would be great. Then I don't overheat, I don't sweat, I don't feel the sun baking me, and I can go quite a distance. And dry, of course. So that's about it for my planning stage here. I think I got to do a cleaner version of this video in the future. I'll put this one out because I had alluded to it in the previous vlog, but I don't have time to record another one. I've got to get ready to go and Jayoe my gear and everything and do some editing. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will get into these map things more, but yeah. that's kind of how I conceptualize my tour. It's kind of slapdash. Is that a word, slapdash? If it's not, I made it up. Take it easy, guys. Jayoe. Bye.
Next time on the Jayoe vlog.
One of the greatest difficulties with leaving the 5-star hotel room, looking out into a cold and windy landscape. It's almost noon and I've only got 20 kilometers down, which is crazy. Beware of the knobbler. Beware of going on pavement to prevent being robbed.